Welcome to this Condra Hoist maintenance and inspection training. Everything discussed in this video comes directly from the official Condra service manual for these hoists. This training was originally developed as part of our in-house technician training program, but I decided to make it public to assist our customers, especially those who perform their own daily and frequent inspections. I worked lots with Condra hoists and cranes in South Africa. The company I used to work for in South Africa was a Condra distributor, and Condra is actually in Canada because of my efforts when I was the operations manager for Indoc Cranes. I brought Condra into Canada in about 2009 and then continued to work with Indoc till about 2013, and then I moved on. So in this session we'll walk through the essential service inspection and lubrication procedures for Condra electric wire rope hoists. Everything you'll learn here applies broadly across Condra's full range of electric wire rope hoists because the inspection and maintenance principles remain consistent across their models. So in this video we'll cover service intervals, brake inspection and adjustment, wire rope and rope guide maintenance, limit switch settings, lubrication schedules, and safe maintenance practices. We'll also be adding similar videos for other hoist makes and models, so be sure to subscribe to the Overhead Hoist Maintenance and Inspection Training Library on our YouTube channel to stay updated. So before starting service and before any maintenance begins, always isolate and lock out the main power supply. Post a warning tag on the isolator switch so no one energizes the hoist during service, right? Follow your company's lockout tag out procedure. Get that all sorted out there. Remove all loads from the hook before beginning. Make sure tools, parts and test instruments are secured and away from any moving components. After maintenance, always perform a full functional test before returning the hoist to service. Initial startup and function test. Before operating a Condra hoist for the first time or after long storage, follow the following checks. Right? Confirm that the incoming supply voltage matches the rating on the hoist nameplate. Ensure the earthing conductor, the grounding conductor is properly connected, right? When the up button is pressed, the hook must rise. If it lowers, instead stop immediately, reverse any two supply phases. Once wiring is confirmed, perform a load test using a certified test load. And they recommend an earth leakage test to confirm proper grounding. That's not common practice in North America, right? A lot of the terminology that I'm reading through here or going through here with their manual is terminology they would use in South Africa. So some of the things like lockout, tag out might have sounded a bit different, but that's how their manuals are written, right? Safety reminders. Condra hoists are designed for reliability, but that reliability depends on proper preventative maintenance, as it does with all equipment, right? So always ensure the work area is clear and well lit, fall protection is worn as per OHS, and only trained and competent technicians perform electrical or mechanical service, right? Never bypass limit switches or safety interlocks. Service intervals by duty class. Condra specifies maintenance intervals according to the hoist duty classification. Here's a breakdown. So their classification is a little bit different to what you may be used to here in Canada. So they have a class M, which is RH1 or H2, light duty, such as workshop or maintenance use, and they need to be inspected and serviced every 2 months, right? Class 2M, the H3 or H4, moderate to heavy duty, up to 2 shifts, inspect and service every 6 weeks. Class 3M, H5 to H6, continuous or severe duty, 16-hour or multi-shift operation, inspect and service monthly, right? So their maintenance schedule is a lot tighter than a lot of the North American hoists we have out here, right? Many people probably don't even know this. Very important, read your manufacturer's manual, right? For foundries, chemical plants, or any operation with high heat, moisture or dust, we contact the Condra service department for a reduced inspection intervals, right? So the inspection intervals will get more stringent, right? Brake inspection and adjustment. Condra hoists are equipped with DC spring applied magnetically it's a magnetically released brake, a fail-safe system that automatically engages when power is cut, right? Before we get into adjustment, a common issue with Condras here in Canada in our environment is that their brake disc is of an open style without a cover. So what happens is they get a little bit of moisture on them, and then with the cold temperatures they freeze and the brake won't release, right? Call-outs we have with Condra customers, that's the majority of them, is the brakes are frozen. If you haven't purchased your unit with a brake cover, make a brake cover for it, right? Just a simple cover, 2 bolts, bolted so it covers over the brake so water doesn't get in the brake, rust it up so it stops working, or freeze when it gets wet, right? That's a major issue that we run into with Condra cranes that are outside, right? So back to brake adjustment. To inspect and adjust, remove the brake cover and clean the area, right? As I just said, like your trolley brakes and those things, they don't have covers, right? They're open, unless you ordered it with a cover, but the majority I've seen here in Canada don't have covers. Check the air gap between the brake disc and the magnet. So 0.6 millimeters for a single disc brake, 0.8 millimeters for a double disc brake, and the maximum allowable gap is 1.6 millimeters. You can find another video in our training series on brakes. I encourage you to watch that. So if the gap exceeds this limit, here's some procedures to adjust it, right? Loosen the lock nuts. You'll find there's lock nuts around the brake. Use a feeler gauge to reset the gap evenly around the brake in 3 different places is how we would do it. Tighten and then recheck all your points, right? Replace the brake linings if the friction material is worn down to 5 millimeters or less. After adjustment, run the hoist for 2 hours and recheck the gap to confirm stability, right? The wire rope and rope guide maintenance. The wire rope is a critical lifting component and must be kept clean and lubricated, right? Use a graphite-based grease. Never use oil or rope dressing. Wipe the rope clean before greasing and remove any old residue from the drum and the rope guide. Inspect for broken wires, corrosion, kinks, or flattening, and then replace immediately if any of these are found. After a rope change, verify correct reeving pattern, adjust the upper and lower limits, and perform a test lift with a light load before returning the hoist to service. Limit switches. Condra hoists include upper and lower limit switches to prevent over travel. These switches reset automatically. They also act as a safeguard against phase reversal, right? So if the hoist travels in the wrong direction, the circuit will trip. Condra recommends only a qualified technician should adjust limit switches, and only after the wire rope has been replaced or reeved, right? Lubrication schedule. Lubrication is essential for long service life. The following is a schedule according to duty class recommended by Condra, right? So the rope guide and drum, they recommend greasing every 3 months for a 1M or H1, H2 class, right? Every 6 weeks for a 2M, H3, H4, every month for a 3M, H5, H6. I know this isn't practical in industry and many of the hoists we have out there. This is a very stringent greasing schedule as compared, but I encourage you to grease your rope guides as Condra here recommends. To change these rope guides is not easy, right? It's a bit of a job. Check gearbox oil level, 1M every 3 months, so your H1, your H2 every 3 months, 2M, H3, H4 every 6 weeks, 3M, H5, H6 every month. Change hoist gearbox oil, right? For the 1M, they recommend every 60 months. So the 1M's the H1, H2. The 2M, the H3, H4, they recommend every 30 months. And the 3M, the H5, H6, is recommended to do every 20 months, right? You'll notice with the Condra gearboxes, they're very light. It's just the way they're built, right? Then plumber blocks, they recommend on the 1M to grease every 6 months, the 2M every 3 months, and then the 3M every month, right? They have a list of approved lubricants: gear oil EP90, GL5, so just your EP90. Grease, they recommend lithium EP0 or the EP200, Mobilux EP004 or the Shell S3655, right? Here in North America, you'll just have to look for a crossover. Always clean fittings before applying fresh grease to prevent contamination, right? An inspection checklist. During each periodic service, inspect these following pieces, right? So these are not over, these are over and above CSA recommendation, right? They're not, they don't supersede CSA recommendation. So crane structure, rails, end stops and buffers, electrical panels, rectifiers, transformers and fuses, pendant station and push button labeling, hoist, rope, hook, rope guide and limit switches, main and auxiliary brakes, right? Gearbox oil levels and any visible leaks, cross travel and long travel motors, brakes and limit switches. So cross travel and long travel, your trolley and your bridge functions, right? Verify that emergency stop and warning devices function properly. Document all findings and corrective actions in the maintenance log, right? And then after maintenance, ensure all guards and covers are reinstalled. Remove all tools and test equipment. Re-energize the hoist. Conduct a no load test to verify proper operation. Record the maintenance date, findings and technician's name on the service record, right? When we do inspections, you'll find we'll put an inspection tag on the equipment as well as fill in the equipment logbook, and then the tag will be dated for next inspection due date. Much like when you take your vehicle for an oil change, you get the little sticker on your windshield. We do the same on cranes, right? So proper inspection, lubrication and adjustment means safer operation, reduced downtime and longer hoist life, right? Always follow Condra's maintenance instructions and your local OH and S regulations, right? In Canada, we're also governed by the CSA B167 standards. So make sure you're following all of these. You can see additional videos in our YouTube channel under our training. I recommend watching all those videos to become a better technician, right? So thank you for completing this Condra Hoist maintenance and expectant training based on the Condra Hoist maintenance manual, right? And for more hoist servicing and maintenance videos, including Demag R&M and Kone models and others, subscribe to the Overhead Hoist Maintenance and Inspection Training Library on our YouTube channel. Right, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.